So we have the pleasure of having Alex with us today. And we met at the psychedelic conference in Las Vegas. And it was just wonderful. Yeah, it was just wonderful meeting you. And your story is so moving, Alex. And that you are here today functioning at the level that you do and being a creator in this space, providing to others on their path of healing is just beyond any word that I can use.
Thank you.
Tell us about you. Tell us about you.
I usually start at the beginning just because it had such an important impact on my life. I was born and raised in a cult where you have really strict ideology and beliefs. And it was really hard for me because I didn't fit in right from the beginning. So as I got older, it got harder and harder because when you're in a strict ideology belief system and you don't fit in with that, what you start to believe about yourself is that you're bad or that you're wrong or that you are other. And so that was really my experience in life for a long time until it all culminated as, I got a little older and I started kind of trying to be myself more. Religion kind of put me into this solitary confinement conversion therapy where I was alone for 9.5 months. And that was insane because you're not allowed to talk to anyone outside, but then I also wasn't allowed to talk to anyone inside. So I had to go to church 3 times a week, be like literally really close to people. I could smell their perfumes, see them, but you couldn't make eye contact or talk to them for 9.5 months. I was a teenager. And then when I got out of that at the end of the 9.5 months, I really realized I would rather be a bad person alone than to be a bad person being surrounded by these people. And so I left thinking I was a bad person until I found mushrooms. And that is kind of what connects us back to now is the mushrooms gave me this message because I always believed I was a human being with a wicked heart. That's what my family told me I had a wicked heart. But it told me, no, you're not. You're a human being with love. And I had no idea what that meant, really. It felt so good. And it was like, it felt wonderful. And in there, it was the first time I really realized, oh, I'm in a cult. I looked up the word and some other really profound things. But it took me a long time to understand them, about 15 years. And it got worse before it got better. And so the reason I do the work I do and the reason I'm in this space is because I believe mushrooms can tell you what you need to do. But more than that, you need support afterwards. You need these community people that can really near you and help you level up because when you do level up, you need that community and it's really hard to find sometimes. That's a short version.
Wow.
And I'm trans, so that's the other thing.
Yes. Wow. Wow. What a journey. What a rich journey you've had. And I mean, I have so many questions.
Ask away.
It's very interesting when you talk about that rigid religious ideology, and I don't know what religion you're referring to, but I also um, have had some experiences in that regard of you having been born in Iran, being raised in a religious dictatorship that used Islam, and not to your extreme because everything for me was from a governmental perspective and not my family, not immediate to me. But that oppression, there was severe oppression and fear and repression, and that your thoughts are bad, you're bad, body is bad, oh, you're
Right.
sinful, everything you do, your thing you say is sinful and wrong. And that messaging, when you have it for so long, it's also difficult to um see it for what it is and change your path without medicine. I mean, I don't even know if I would have gotten through my own patterns. And I grew up in a loving family, loving and safe family. I cannot imagine what you have gone through. Cannot imagine. And was this a family thing? Was this something that happened to you? Was it something you joined you didn't know about? Like, tell me
No,
more about
I'm third generation on both sides of my family. I don't mention the actual cult name on purpose for
it.
a lot
Yeah.
of reason. Yeah, because I want people to understand that what I really say is because people are like, oh, I relate to you. And they're like, but I wasn't. But here's the thing, culture. Much of our culture really defines us as well. And we don't get out of that ideology. And it doesn't have to be religious. It doesn't have to be anything. It can be genuinely anything people can use to try and define you with an outside perspective instead of your inside perspective. And so, yeah, for me, it was third generation, both sides. But when I left, I had over 100 family members in. I have no idea how many I have now. Much, much, much more than that. I have a Hispanic family, so they have a lot of family. But like my brother has kids. I've never met them. I just know about them. So it's been for me. I left when I was 21. I'm 40. I know I don't look it, but so at 42, I said I'm gonna have a big party because I'll be out as long as I was in. And so it was a really important for me. Yeah, that was the last time I saw my parents, my 21st birthday.
Wow. Wow. How are you doing with all of that? Because, as you said, the sense of community is so important in our evolution, right? As we up level, as we expand, what you often see is letting go of the past systems and networks that we've been a part of. And a lot of us feel very lonely in this process of clearing house. And
Yes.
I am. Who am I? I'm trying to figure myself out, and I don't feel like I relate to anyone, which isn't true, but that's how it feels. There's so many points of the journey. This is how it feels. It feels lonely. But yeah, tell me about that.
So it's been a lot of like, I think every time you level up, you kind of end up having new friends and new friends and new friends. And for me, I kind of have leveled up a lot, maybe more than probably the average person, because I had to find so much of myself. Question I ask people, and you might have heard this in any of my speeches, is do you remember who you were before the world told you who to be? Because what I feel like happens is we have holes that we give away parts of ourselves. We give away parts of ourselves. And so for me, I would find one part of myself and I would feel a little better and I'd have that group, but then I'd find another and it didn't resonate again. And I really feel like until you feel whole, like the real best version of yourself, and it's not that it's not evolving, you're never going to find the people, the right people, you know? And so that only happened for me within like the last maybe 2 years. And what that all happened with is having to be okay with letting people go over and over and over again to find you. But then once you do, I feel like now I don't know how I'm so lucky. I don't know how I found so many wonderful people that just make me better. And it's not been easy. I got out of a relationship that served me for a while, but we didn't level at the same rate. That was hard. All of these things are really hard to kind of look in the mirror and say, I have to do what's best for me and I have to find the people that's best for me. But I feel like the universe responds. You make that space, and the universe is like, oh, this is what was supposed to fill it. Just like yourself. You have to find the pieces of yourself, and then the universe responds.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You're putting the energy out there, the intention, the want. Hey, this is where I am and I want and I need this right now. And it's true. The universe responds and you respond also
Yeah.
to what's brought to you, and you're able to receive and to give with more ease.
I think receiving is harder than giving for a lot of people.
Yes.
For
Yes.
me, it was for a very long time.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I didn't
I'm
think I
I'm
was
working on
worthy.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I had lunch with somebody today. They're like, let me get the tab. I'm like, you have that pause. And then you have to go, thank you. And that's the thing. Instead of going, no, 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 no. You just are appreciative. It took me a long time to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful to be in this space now, right? Because if we didn't feel these needs, that would change something in ourselves as well, so that there's this flow that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here.
This
Yeah.
is when you get uncomfortable, it's for a reason. Like you start having that little inner voice. I have a tattoo right here. It says catch it in the whisper. And it's from a quote technically actually from Oprah, which is an amazing woman who has helped a lot of people. But what she says is that the universe first speaks to you in whispers. And then when you don't catch it in the whisper, it'll yell at you. When you don't catch it in the yell, it'll throw a brick at your head. And then when you don't catch it in that, it'll make a whole brick wall fall down on you because the universe will just make the message bigger and bigger until you respond. But that's just you and helping you because we are all manifestation of the universe and of energy, of love, whatever you call it. And so it's just helping us grow. And so that uncomfortableness is just you talking to you. And first it starts out real tiny, like a little feeling, right in that gut. And that's where you want to catch it is the whisper. A lot of us don't, and we have to get the message the hard way many times. And I think for me, my daily practice now is being centered enough every day that the whispers are like loud to me. And that's where I want to be, and so in tune with myself and the universe that a little tingle is enough for me.
It's beautiful. So one of my friends and mentors, he says silencing the distractions so that the signal can come through. It reminds me of, and it's true, it's practice. And I love that you bring this forward. That's my work. I'm all about these practices center us, the conscious life practices, what I call them. There are many different ways to do this. And but find yours. And I'm just presenting with a set of things that work for people and we know scientifically work, but finding what works for you takes consistency, and it takes making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and then doing this back and forth. And, it reminds me of sea animals, like even, the octopus, where it's just like using all this sensorium to figure out where it is at, if there's any like nauseous stimuli or there's food or it's just constantly intaking. But the octopus isn't thinking about, oh, I'm making mistakes and I gotta stop.
It's like doing the thing. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just being what it is at its best. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like because it's not worried about outside messages, inside messages that matter. And that's what you're trying to tune into. So I think we've talked about when we met that we do retreats through my company with Mush Love. And the thing that I really try to do is I work with a person who created a journal. It's not quite done yet, but we're working on it and it's for our retreats. And what we're going to be doing is sending it to people 2 weeks before so that it starts getting the conversation with themselves back. Because that's the signal that they tune out the most is the inside one, the one that matters in favor of my professor said this, my boss said this, my mom said this when I was 2, whatever. We have all these things that unfortunately we start to carry and start to have these messages that we think are who we're supposed to be. And instead of tuning those out, and tuning into the inside signal, the thing that I believe will return people to themselves is you got to talk to you. You got to have these messages with yourself where you know exactly your voice and what it resonates as and your alignment so that you're not tuning into those other voices because you can say to them, I appreciate your input, but this feels good for me. And you can feel good about that. And that's a
Yeah.
crazy feeling to have once you get there.
Yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. What would you say in your journey? Was there anything in particular that helped you the most? I'm sure, I mean, there's always so many things, right? To get you to that point of, okay, there's just so many birthings that happen along the way.
So for your question, what helped me the most? Journaling probably is my number one thing that I tell people because it helps you be honest. You have to get past all of your own barriers. I mean, I really think mushrooms, if with journaling, are probably the best or some sort of something that can get your ego to shut down a little bit. But if you're not, only can pick one, I think the thing that was most important is learning how to talk to yourself honestly, like, and not having that ego response and not judging yourself and just really seeing where you're at. Because for me, a lot of times I even now care about the people that I love and I want to make them happy. But there's a saying that comes from Neil Donald Walsh in his book changed my life, and it says, betrayal of yourself in order to not betray another is betrayal nonetheless. It's the highest betrayal. So that's the thing that I always try and remember is I can't betray myself to be true to someone else. And the journaling helps me really see what's honest, be honest with myself. So if I was talking to a friend and I was trying to be honest, I can usually do that. But with yourself, it's kind of hard. Not anymore. That's the thing I do. I do it every morning, every single morning, and I don't ever skip a day. I also pull tarot cards after because I think that's a like messages from the universe sort of thing for myself. But journaling is to me talking to yourself, and that's why we incorporated it for the practice that I want to help people with. It's really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's beautiful. You say it so beautifully, Alex. They're like whispers. It's true. It is that conversation within, to be honest with that. And yeah, and everyone can do it. It just needs some silent time.
Hmm.
you know?
People say it's really hard. They have a hard time. I find that really funny because, if your friend makes time for you to talk to you, we're always excited to talk to our friend. But how come we're not excited to talk to ourselves? We need to be our best friend. Like, what you have to say is important too. Listen to yourself.
Mm.
Give yourself a few moments to really pour your heart out to you and treat yourself like your best friend. It'll change your whole life. Change your whole life.
Yeah. I'm taking notes, okay? Yeah, it's true. I mean, these are all the things that I also work on, but can I work on it more? Yeah, absolutely. There's always layers, there's always different perspectives you can approach all of this. And what I feel from you the most is it's really cool. I have to tell the story to the listeners that Alex comes up and it is the Mother's Day weekend, and it was the day before Mother's Day, so it was Saturday, that we met at Psych, in Vegas, and he reaches, from his pocket and hands me 2 little gemstone hearts, and it says, "Happy Mother's Day." How did you know I have 2 kids, Alex?
I didn't. Just happened that way. It happened
I
to me a couple times
know.
that weekend. I was like, oh, thank you. I mean, I don't know. It just felt resonant. And I saw that it was Mother's Day weekend. And so I was like, a lot of moms are going to be giving up their time. And so it was important to me to honor that. And this kind of may sound cheesy, but my mom and I don't have a relationship. She believes I'm not a good the things about myself. She wants the person that she had that was born and that believes the way she believes. But I'm not mad at her for that. Like, I wrote a book. I have an editor right now. And one of the things that I really believe is she gave me the best she had with what she had to give. And even though I can't give her love, I can give every mother love as if it was mine. And so it was really important to me to just put that energy in the universe because it will reach back in some way to all of us and to every mother and my mother, even if she'll never know about it. But for me, it's just important to put the energy out.
How beautiful. You have so much love. You have so much love. It's palpable. Like I feel it. It's beautiful. And you're such a gift to this world. And I know that and I'm sure you know that all the challenges you've gone through um are the reason you're such a gem and you're able to shine so brightly now.
I wouldn't give it back. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, but I look back now and go, those were the building blocks that now I can sit with anyone in their darkness and say, I've been there, but I got out. And if I can get out, trust me, you can. Just trust me. You can do it too. Anyone, because I if I can, anyone can. Then I think that's the ultimate message that I have is, and I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll be there. That's why I do the work that I do is all the things that helped me. I wrote my book, same thing. For my book, it's 16 chapters and each chapter has 3 sections. First part is my story. The second part is called a sanity session, which is things that I wish I knew, stuff that was going on behind the scenes and a lesson that was in there. And then the last part is the mirror moment, how to apply it to your life. And there's a lot of me that's like, wish I could just share the sanity sessions with the mirror moments because they're beautiful. And I feel like the universe gave me those lessons. But I know that my story is what will make people understand it. And so that's why I've really put it in that format that I've been through all the things because I got the lessons and the lessons can change the world. And that's what matters is we're all here to help each other, to walk each other home, as they say. We all just have to do our part by being the best version of ourselves and having love. And now I get it and I'm grateful for it. And like, I'm not mad. I don't have any malice. I just wish everybody understood that love is all that matters and it'll change everything for yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would change everything for you, especially when you do it honestly for you and yeah, yeah. Um, do you tell me about okay, first of all, what is the name of your book?
So my book is called A Human Being with Love and I have an editor. I have a website. The first 3 chapters I actually spoke, and that's how I found my editor. I did it online, so that's all online. The first 3 chapters, but the rest of it she's working on, and going to be getting the book out hopefully this at the end of this year or next year, something like that. But yeah, and then like I said, the website has it though, if you want to see the first three chapters.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing your gems and your story. Your story matters a lot. That's what gives us context and the depth of where your message comes from. And we all want to hear each other's story because everybody's story is different.
Yeah. But it all has it's like every movie, every book, everything. Once you find that like inner belief and self-love, that's what changes everything. And I feel like every religion, every creed, everything is just trying to give us back to ourselves and remind us of that love. So anybody can add their voice to that and it will help wake up another person and return ourselves to each other. And we all just have a different language of love. So we just have to find it within. That's genuinely what I believe.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
Self
You have
first.
lived experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's from your
definitely.
yeah. So tell me, what do you offer through your so I know you do retreats. We had briefly touched on the hiking events that you also do in Colorado. Where are you located and how can people reach out to you and if they're seeking this kind of help or
Yeah,
just
well,
there.
the reason we do it is because I'm trying to build a community of people that see each other. I don't just want, like, we have a product, but the product is really love. So we're trying to do all these connections that it's mushlovellc.com. And we have now microdosing hikes, microdosing sound bath, a couple of phenomenal sound healers that I'm working with, and they're on our website as well. And so they're doing this. We're going to be teaming up to do that more and more. I also have another person on my website who's called the Kaizen Coach, and she's going to be doing some events. Everything is really just trying to help people from all levels. So if you don't have financials to be able to, financial freedom to be able to go to a retreat, we still want to help you be able to have these communities and these little events, and everything will level you up. And the more you level up, then your financials will level up too. And then you can come to a retreat because it's all incremental. But
Yeah.
we do, like I said, all of that. We do some like educational things that if you need, chocolate or mushrooms and things like that, because we do know it's medicine and it's hard to get, you can contact us and we help you with education and then we give you free stuff so that you can have this medicine because it is hard to find for people. So we
Mhm.
do all different kind of things from educational things to community events to retreats. And we just want to keep building. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you brought up the product side of things because even it's so funny. Before we jumped on the call. One of my colleagues, who's also a physician, just put up a post about getting these patients who consume chocolates that didn't have psilocybin in them, but they had
Hmm.
something else in them, and they're having all kinds of seizure activity, going into the ICU, intubation, all of that. So safety is truly
Yeah.
concern, and I think knowing, as you said, people don't know where to get the products from, but it's also about who do I trust in because
Yeah.
not regulated. Don't want it to be regulated, but
No, agreed.
how about we regulate ourselves, you guys? You know what I mean? Do
Yes.
thing for your community and really bringing healing. And that's the products that I use. They're Silo Safe certified. You saw our booth there, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a community of growers and people who have their own stories that have created a product for the community to or individuals to heal themselves. But we make sure that it contains what we think it contains, and
Right?
that's huge. That's huge.
It's so important. I've said many, many times that more the mushroom business is less about dollars and cents and more about you're not really selling a product, you're selling trust because it's a lot harder to trust somebody. Because what I believe too is that the conditions you grow your mushrooms in also will play a part because mushrooms are water and we are water. And when you talk kindly to water, crystal formations form that are different than if you speak unkindly to them. So I even believe like I play my mushrooms music every day, every single day when I leave because I keep them in their own separate garage. I say grow big, grow strong, but most importantly, you grow with love. I tell them these things every day because I believe it's not about just a product. It's about nurturing an environment and nurturing the love that we want to give them that they'll be giving back to us. And I work with Altitude Counseling, Consulting here in Denver. and they test all the stuff, products and stuff. So like we have a lot of really good relationships. Even our chocolate, like I get chocolate from a company here in Denver called Babamba. I met the owner before I decided to get chocolate from him because he has his own farm in Cameroon with no child labor. So the chocolate's a little bit more expensive, but it's from front to back a better quality product. So for me, it's everything. It's every single step. The water, I bless the water. Like everything for me is about let's do everything to where we think and we put intention, and every single step along the way, we are providing love. Like I tell Patrick, the guy at the chocolate, I'm like, you're a rock star. You're changing the world with chocolate, man. You can do that. You're not using child labor. That's beautiful. And I want to work with people that are rock stars that are changing the world with every little thing in love. That's important to me.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, my pleasure. I think the mushrooms show off a little bit for it. That I sometimes get real, all the time I have big 100-gram mushrooms, and I was like, you did it. You did. You grew big. And then I'll tell the other ones, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's all big. And I thank him all the time. I'm silly. I just talk to them
I
all the
love it.
time. I'm like, look at you showing off, my dude. Look at you. And they just get all big. It's great. I love them so much. They're all little buddies.
They're little buddies. They're our little buddies.
What's cool about mushrooms, people don't know this, but if you dry out a mushroom and then you take a piece of it and you rehydrate it and you put it on an agar dish, it'll grow. It'll start growing mycelium again because it's not actually dead. It's just dormant right then. So you can just, like, if I give you mushrooms and you take it, you could regrow it from that mycelium. So when they are in contact with us, they're still alive. They still are there. They're just maybe little.
I love that. I just think about when, people in ceremony or microdosing were ingesting and they're just sleeping and the mycelium are our neurons, right? That is that we see happen. It's so interesting. That's wild.
They're symbiotic. They just come in still alive. They're like, okay, I'm alive, you're alive. Let's do the thing.
Let's do the
Beautiful.
thing. Let's make this life better. Let's make this planet better. Let's make it
Yeah.
a symbiotic relationship where there is love and there's acceptance and there's um just all the goodness.
Yeah, it's not true that we can't do everything the right way. It's not. We could do everything the right way. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough food. There's more than enough land. There's more than enough of everything for everybody to do it the right way, as long as we create the love. That's the only thing that's missing. And the problem is we have to create that part. That's on us. So if we see things in the world that we don't like, that just means we're the ones that noticed it. So we got to add the love there. It's our responsibility now. And that's the only ingredient that's missing. The world created a perfect playground, the universe in this world for us. And we could make anything we want. And for now, this is what we've made. But now we can make better because we know better. You know better, you do better. We can just keep making better. It's on us. The love is coming. The mushrooms are bringing it.
So yeah. And I love that you bring this shift in how we think. I believe in that wholeheartedly. That's the work I've dedicated my life to now is all we got to do is bring attention to doing it in a better way, doing things in a more symbiotic way. We keep making excuses that this is how it is. Well, no, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. There's so much intelligence also, right? There are all the resources you need. That's complete abundance that we have access to. And we just have to take the steps towards that. And where we spend our money matters,
Yes.
both with our dollar
Hmm.
and just like how you buy your chocolate from Cambodia where there is no child labor. Like that is if all investors, as if all companies, small, big, whatever size, each individual even goes out and does this type of thing, we are leading.
Exact. For me, it's about gratitude. And this is, I always say I'm kind of cheesy, but I think I'm half philosopher. But like when we were driving to Vegas, I was driving with my business partner, Josh, and we were talking, and I was like, whenever I go through the mountains, because the mountains are like really hard to get through Colorado to Vegas, they're tall and big. I said, all I can think about is how I am in a car that's basically a space machine with air conditioning and all of this technology, music from how many different decades, ice in a cooler, like I have my dog in a car seat, and we are flying through mountains that took how many people to create all of this work? Who created the automobile? Who created all of these little steps that people did and had no idea that I'd be in there using it to just go to a conference to have some fun. These things are amazing that we do together. Phenomenal what my life looks like today compared to just 200 years ago when they're using horse and buggy and those mountains are not attainable in a 1 day drive comfortably, incredibly comfortably. Like we're flying through there. That is something to think about. Our lives are phenomenal on a day-to-day basis. What we have created because we've all individually done our own little part and then together what we have. It's insane if you really think about our lives. So all you got to do is follow your bliss. The car guy was not thinking about me going through the mountains with air conditioning. He wasn't at all. He was just thinking, this is a little better, and I like this. And you just step by step, each person does their part where they see something could be better. And pretty soon we've all collectively created an experience that it seems today normal, but it's not, not even a little bit.
I love it. That's so beautiful. And it's so true. It's phenomenal how
Hmm.
we live today in this world, in everything. The house that I'm sitting here connected to you on a computer. Like
I know, right?
it's wild.
No, it's like the Jetsons up in here. It's, so-
You
it's
know?
just funny, right? It's the things that we have created are phenomenal. And it's
No,
just because we wanted to. We had fun. It was joyous. It's never things that are we don't create things out of fear or anger. Those aren't the things that we love. It's always joy that gets us to the next step and the next step. If we just all followed our own personal inside whispers that do bring you joy, I feel like the things that we could create collectively from love, we have no idea because there's so many minds out there that we could use that are right now in fear and desperation, just trying to survive because they can't make it. And so all of us collectively just doing little things helps each other grow in ways that we don't even understand. But love will get us there and joy and following those inside messages.
I love that. That's our North Star is, yeah.
Yeah,
Need
exactly.
to find towards that. And you bring up beautiful points. And one of the most important ones has been you got to do your inner work. That's where it all stems from.
It's hard.
All of it. And it's hard and it's a lot. And some days it's easier, some days it's harder. Some moments in a day, you're just feeling this way. The next day, this morning I woke up and I texted my 16-year-old too about this, but I woke up just angry.
I've had.
Nothing's happening, just angry. And I have this like rush of energy through me. I'm like, what is happening with me? Right. I go to our little gym that we have at our house. We have a few things. And I started taking the punching bag and I felt significantly better. I'm like, oh my God. There's literally this energy that needed to go through me and if I hadn't honored it, and if I hadn't had a tool or a way of releasing it, then I would have carried that and I would have yelled at my 3-year-old because he's just
Ah,
3 and fumbling things and things are happening. Her snack pack is like on the ground and 3 dogs that, we're dog sitting and it's a lot happening in our household with all the animals. But really and truly, if we don't each have these practices that center us, whatever you want to call it, equilibrates,
mhm.
center us, bring us to this space where we're not reacting to situations, where we are acting from love and we give that spaciousness to each other and allowance of the 3-year-old to drop things and to spill his snack pack. It's okay. It's okay.
Mm,
But if I wasn't in that equilibrated place, I would have yelled at him instead. And I would have been like,
mm.
oh, you got to get a timeout. No, it's really not his. It's is just trying to figure it out,
That's how it
right?
builds coordination, right?
It's nothing. But a mom or a dad or whoever who has tools, and there are tools, like I had to find all of this out on my own as well in a very
Hmm.
difficult way. And so truly tapping into that inner work is everything. And how can I make myself how can I serve myself, love myself, and love that inner child too, who was not maybe loved at points or it didn't feel that way or whatever was going on.
Yeah,
Mm.
I had a whole different name when I was born, and I'm very open about it because it's the first line of my book. I said when I was born, my name was Tiffany Marie Carpenter, except for when I was in trouble. Then I was Tiffany Marie James Carpenter. And I say in the book, I liked the James because for me, it balanced out the atrociousness of Tiffany. I hated that name. And so it's funny because as kids, you really do understand more than you have words for. And so whenever I was in trouble, I was kind of like, huh, that's funny. I like that name. But I didn't understand why I was so resonant with the James, and I'm trans. And I got a little older, and my dad was like, told me to wear shirts, and I was like, what? I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. And they wouldn't listen to me. So like all these messages that when I was young, I had to really figure out for myself as I got older and kind of look at it and go, okay, well, that was their stuff. I should have been treated a lot better if I had parents who maybe understood and had more allowance for themselves. And that's what I really realized is my parents are living in a box. My parents are living with all of these restrictions that were put on them that they never listed. And I call it mirages. That's the word I use is there's a mirage version of you and a real version of you. And we often put the mirage in front of ourselves for safety. And it does protect us for a long time, especially if you're in some of those really confined places. I was Tiffany. Tiffany was my mirage for a long, long time. I had to be her because if I wasn't, I was not safe. And so you really have to heal. And I'm perfectly fine explaining that to people and giving that name and all of that because I'm grateful for her and the safety that she gave me for a very long time. And I'm not resentful towards the name or all of the experiences that I had because she served me for a while. But it doesn't serve me anymore. And I have a better feeling in life and everything that I have now. I'm Alex and I love being myself. But I had to really thank her and let my parents off the hook too, because there's a lot that my parents went through, a lot that I understand now that they've never healed from or really got to change or do anything about. And I feel bad for them now. And so I have that empathy for them and for my younger self. But that work is not easy to do. I think the hardest part is to let your parents off the hook because you're like, you should have known better. You were older than me. But nah, your parents are a product of a lot of stuff too. A lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Truly. And that understanding is very important in the path of forgiveness, forgiveness others, forgiveness of yourself, maybe even not having listened to yourself. And this betrayal, right? It's a betrayal
Yeah.
if we don't connect with that. But it's so interesting. That is, I do a forgiveness exercise with my clients, and that is literally the one thing that comes up so loudly is the forgiveness of self over again. It's hard. And you're like, my gosh, like there's guilt and shame and how could I? How could I've not or all of those things, but we're just doing the best we can.
Yeah, I tell people this in my book. Things that may not serve you forever probably did serve you for a little while. So thank them for the service they gave. And now know it doesn't serve you anymore, but you have to forgive yourself for not knowing any better. You can't do better until you know better. And I think that's something we really need to normalize as a society as well, is letting people grow and level up and then owning. I didn't understand this before. I understand it now. And then that mirror can help other people. But I feel like we live in a lot of gotcha society sometimes where we point out the mistakes and we really harp on them instead of saying, hey, this might have hurt my feelings or whatever happened. We don't really give people the room to grow and really, I think it requires a vulnerability in our part to say, oh, you did the thing, instead of saying, hey, I felt a thing. And that is where we can grow, is where we also say, I'm vulnerable here. And that is a really hard thing to do. It's a really, really hard thing to do. So for me, society really, we really need to embrace this thing with each other of allowing people to grow, helping people level up. And then once they do, not shaming them for not knowing better before. Yeah.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
Themselves the most, like you said. Yeah.
Mhm. No, and I love the love is the theme here, right? So you gotta have that love. If you have it for you, then you're gonna have it for others. And if you're
Yeah.
making and doing from that love space, then there is no shaming about any of it. This morning, actually, you might have seen it. I don't know, but I put up him. post on my Facebook, saying, "I make mistakes every day," and with a, celebration emoji. I'm like, "Yes, if I didn't make mistakes every day, I make mistakes every day." I
Mhm.
trying to figure it out. If I didn't make mistakes, it means I'm not living. And the same amount of mistakes I'm making, I'm also doing good things that it's not even good or bad. It's just is. It's that experiential exploration. Exploration. I think even as I'm talking about it, as we're talking about it and exploring it, do we even call it mistakes? Because that's a pattern of society and culture, right? Why can't we call it exploration? Exploring. Well, and vulnerable in that exploration.
I love that.
I learned so much. We all learned so much from that. So funny. I was talking about this with my mom. We're at the gym together. And yeah, it's very interesting. The dynamics with parents is always something you learn a lot from. Just digging
Yes.
there, right?
Like, I was thinking when you said exploration about mushrooms again, because that's the thing that I love to do so much is I've learned a lot by my quote unquote mistakes with mushrooms and the things that you do wrong or are different or whatever. And I've kind of like some of my mistakes have been the biggest teachers. And I never really got mad. I think that's funny. I call it the universe's tithe. Whenever I make a mistake, it's just nothing goes unused by the universe, right? Nothing. Even if you get contamination, you can put it in your garden and your plants will eat it and they love it. And it's just so for me, our mistakes are never unused by the universe. In some way, the universe is learning by us. We're learning by us. It's just used differently by the universe is how I see it. So like with mushrooms, there's never any waste, even if you get contamination, even if something goes wrong, the universe is still going to use it. It still goes somewhere useful. So I think about mistakes that way for myself is, well, what can I get useful out of this? How is the universe going to use this mistake to make it better? I also think about that too if I hit a dead end, something I really was looking forward to and it doesn't work out. I'm like, well, something must be better that needs to happen, or that wasn't meant to be. That was that protection. For me, I always choose that was the best version of what could happen, because I feel like if I look at it that way, the universe and I are conspiring to make something better all the time. There's nothing unuseful. There's nothing bad. It's just a label we put on it. It's all
Yeah.
gross.
It's all growth. It's all expansion. The way you're describing it is a very expansive way of
Mm-hmm.
talking about it. And in our humanness, we try to make things narrow so we can understand them. Or historically we have. Can we
Mm-hmm.
change that? Of course, like that's what we're doing, right? So we can
Yep.
change how we even talk about it. So it is very expansive. What you just described to me, I'm like, yeah, it's wonderful. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the mushrooms make everything make sense to me. You just they're the great recycler. We take them for even if not psychedelic ones. There's so many other healthful ones like turkey's tail and lion's mane and reishi and all these other ones that help you with benefits. But like our human evolution, they were there with that 100,000 years ago. They're just really, for me, they're a great connector, mycelial connector for all of us and for ideas and everything. They're really good for that, illustrating.
Yeah, yeah. As you said, connector, what popped up in my mind was kids and adults who are on the spectrum or they have autism because they have a hard time connecting. And more every day, there's like more studies or even anecdotal evidence coming out talking about how people are utilizing microdosing in autistic kids to help them connect. That's the most difficult. A lot of them are very intelligent in a different way. The emotional side of things, the emotional intelligence is what is underdeveloped. And yeah, I don't know if you have had any experience with that.
Actually, yep. That's the great part about being me is like I meet so many people all the time and they tell me their stories. Like that's my favorite part is when people are like telling me their stories. But I have people like somebody that recently told me that him and his wife did psilocybin ethylensis, which is not a cubensis, but that he said that they leveled up on a level that they had never been on together, and she's potentially they not technically diagnosed, but on the spectrum. And he said that emotionally, she just completely opened up like she never had in their whole relationship, and now she's like been able to reincorporate that in her life and stuff. But I thought it was interesting that it was psilocybin natalensis because the difference between a cubensis and a natalensis is very, very big. For one thing, they're much stronger than natalensis, so you need to take less. But more than that, you don't really go all the way into that like visual world so much. You really need to close your eyes to get there on a natalensis. Or on a cubensis, you can even see visuals and stuff with your eyes open often. So the cubes really take you all the way in, all the way into this really visual psychedelic world. Whereas the Natsulensis, if you take enough, you still will have some of that stuff, especially if you close your eyes, but you still can communicate. You can write, you can talk, you can listen to music, you can vibe. You are not all in that world. The only thing that happens is your ego really goes offline. So you're much more in touch with who you are. And so I thought it was so interesting that he used that mushroom specifically first for her first ever trip because that is astounding to me. It's exactly right. It was exactly what was meant to be. And I wouldn't have thought to say that, but the universe does the thing, of course. And so yeah, I thought it was phenomenal hearing that experience. I just had goosebumps all over when he was telling me about this because I was like, I'm so happy for you. Like, I'm so happy for both of you. We were talking about energy. She never understood these things before. And it was just so beautiful because I feel like there's so much in the brain of a lot of these neurodivergent people that is really important that we could, a lot of the greatest inventions in mankind have come from neurodivergent people, but they always have this lack of ability, it seems like, connect with the outer world or for us to connect to them. And the fact that maybe this could just unlock enough that it could help them connect, I find that phenomenal. But yeah,
No.
for anyone, I would recommend trying the Natalensis, which is harder to find. It's not that much harder to grow. It is a little harder to grow, but it's more than that, a lower yield mushroom, but you don't quite need as much. It's one of the ones I literally always have in stock. I grow over 100 strains, but since that's a completely different, not just a strain, it's not a cubensis, I always have that one available because it's completely different. It also has some like benefits for anti-inflammatory effects, which I find interesting because a lot of illnesses are caused by inflammation. So it's really interesting that even that natalensis, I think, are going to be the next really big thing in mushrooms. They're phenomenal.
I'm gonna write this down as you're talking to me about it. It's the first time I'm hearing about this, and thank you for sharing. I
Yeah,
would love to get more information. That would be lovely. You
they're
see.
an amazing mushroom. Like I said, you don't need as much. They're about, on average, 3 to 5 times stronger in cubensis. Heroic dose is usually about 2 grams, 2.5 grams.
Oh.
So you don't need a lot. But they're, again, even on a heroic dose, people are much more functional, but their vulnerabilities just open up. It's the number one thing I recommend to anyone having marital stuff too. If you need to figure out stuff, each of you take like about a gram, just talk it out. You'll feel each other and you'll really be able to find a middle ground. Even if you end up not agreeing or whatever, you'll still find a middle ground. The most amazing mushroom in this way, as far as you can communicate. You are there, but it's not the visuals. That's what I always tell people. If you want visuals, it is not that, not at all. It is all the other stuff. And added on to that, if you take a heroic dose, it's really cool because music sounds different. Cubes don't do that. And Cube's music is your ground. It sounds the same. Everything's familiar. On this, you can listen to music, a song you've heard 100 times, and it'll sound brand new. Like one of my friends, the first time she did it, I was with her. She's been in choir her whole life. So she had like 3 notes and she knows the song. I was playing a list of songs she knew, and she's like, "Do I know the song? This is an amazing song." And I'm like, "You've heard the song like a million times." And it was so different. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool mushroom.
So cool. Thank you so much for sharing. That's amazing.
Mhm.
And so what is your website?
Much love.
lovellc.com. Awesome. We're going to make sure that all this information is in the show notes so our listeners can reach out to you. Alice, thank you for being you and for doing such an incredible work that is so necessary, especially at it's the perfect time. This is the time. Today is the day to do this work. And thank you for
I
time
appreciate you. You're
for
wonderful.
sharing. Thank you. It's such a privilege to have met you.
Yeah, well, we'll hopefully do this a lot more.
Yes. No, we're gonna be connected. We're gonna do things together 100%. I have no doubt.
All right. Well, much love to you and your listeners.
Bye.